Be Wealthy and Smart, episode 1285.
Step into a world of wealth and financial freedom without budgets, boredom, or bosses on Be Wealthy and Smart. And now, here's your host, Linda P. Jones.
Welcome to Be Wealthy and Smart. I'm Linda P. Jones, America's Wealth Mentor, empowering women and men worldwide to financial freedom. On today's show, we're going to talk about an unusual article where heirs are giving billions in inheritances to unlikely beneficiaries. So this was published on Forbes because an Hermes heir was giving billions to his gardener. So I'm going to read this article to you in its whole format because it's so unusual and it's well written. And I think you need to experience it the way Forbes wrote it. So it says, the owner of an $11 billion fashion fortune says he plans to adopt his 51-year-old gardener and make him the official heir to a portion of his riches from the Hermes dynasty. Multiple outlets reported, adding Nicholas Petch to a list of the extremely wealthy making surprising decisions about where to bequeath their fortunes. Key facts. Petch, who doesn't have a spouse or children, plans to leave roughly half of his immense wealth and real estate portfolio to his gardener and his family, according to Swiss publication Tribune de Genève, a move that comes amid a reported rift over business decisions within the family. Worth an estimated $11.5 billion, Petch reportedly plans to leave his gardener half of his wealth and has already given him a property in Morocco and a villa in Switzerland worth a combined total of almost $6 million. The move is a rare one for legacy wealth families. Petch is a fifth-generation heir of Thierry Hermes, who founded the luxury fashion house in 1837, but unique inheritance arrangements aren't unheard of, even among the ultra-rich. In 2007, man of noble Portuguese lineage named Luís Carlos de Noronha Cabral de Camara reportedly left his bank accounts, 12-room apartment in Lisbon, house in Portugal, luxury car, and 2 motorcycles to a group of 70 people, whose names he randomly plucked from a phone book more than a decade ahead of his death. A Canadian lawyer in the 1920s left a significant portion of his healthy estate to a trust that would be liquidated 10 years after his death and given to a Toronto woman who managed to birth the most children between 1926 to 1936. 4 mothers ultimately benefited from the scheme dubbed the Great Stork Derby, and each received $110,000, the equivalent of about $2.4 million today. Now known as the Dogeville Hermit, a Wisconsin man named Archibald MacArthur left just $5 each to his family members when he died in the early 1900s and left the rest of his money, about $3 million today, to a man he once befriended on a park bench. One of the wealthiest men in Michigan did pass on his estate to his family, but not until a century after he died. Wellington Burt included a provision in the will for his $110 million fortune that didn't allow it to pass on until 21 years after his death, after the death of his last surviving grandchild, and 12 people inherited the money in 2010. Earlier this year, a secret multimillionaire in New Hampshire decided to leave all of his wealth, $3.8 million, to the town he'd lived in for decades. Key background. Petch is ranked as the world's 162nd richest person as of Thursday, with an estimated net worth of $11.5 billion. He owns about 5% of the Hermes company, which is the world's second most valuable luxury brand. His plan to give his fortune to the gardener comes amid tensions within the Hermes family that date back over a decade, starting with a hostile takeover bid by a fashion powerhouse, Louis Vuitton Moet Hennessy, that saw the conglomerate stealthily acquire 23% of the company between 2001 and 2013 to block a takeover by LVMH, which is owned by Bernard Arnault, the second richest man in the world. Petch's family members set up a holding company that now owns more than half of Hermes's shares, but Petch held on to his stake. Ultimately, Arnault and LVMH agreed to divest their shares. In 2014, Petch resigned from the company's supervisory board, and a spokesperson reported it because he had felt for years beleaguered by members of his family who have attacked him on several fronts. The next section is called Tangent. For some of the ultra-rich, being human isn't a requirement to inherit. When Leona, Queen of Mean Helmsley, died in 2007, the billionaire widow of former New York real estate and hotel tycoon Harry Helmsley left her pet Maltese named Trouble, a trust fund valued at $12 million. A judge ultimately ruled that way more than needed to care for the dog, and his inheritance was cut to $2 million. Trouble died in 2011, and the remaining money went to charitable purposes, according to the New York Times. Chanel creative director Karl Lagerfeld willed his Burmese cat, Chopette, an unconfirmed amount of his roughly $300 million estate before he died, he told Numero. Chopette is said to have brought in millions of her own dollars in modeling gigs over the years. When the widow of Star Trek creator Gene Roddenberry died in 2008, she reportedly left $3.3 million to her pets, and the Guinness World Records includes a cat named Blackie as the richest feline in the world. She inherited about $12.5 million when her antiques dealer owner, Ben Ray, died in 1988. Ray left nothing for his family. The last section is called Surprising Fact. A handful of celebrities have said they don't plan to pass their fortunes to their children for a number of reasons. George Lucas, the billionaire creator of the Star Wars universe, said the proceeds from the $4.5 billion sale of the franchise to Disney will go to educational causes, not his 4 children. Lucas is also a signee of the Giving Pledge, a charitable campaign that encourages the world's wealthiest to donate a majority to philanthropic causes. Billionaires who've committed include founders Bill Gates and Warren Buffett, Elon Musk, Larry Ellison, Mackenzie Scott, and Mark Zuckerberg. Other celebrities who've said they'll bequeath their money elsewhere include Mila Kunis and Ashton Kutcher, Daniel Craig, Gordon Ramsay, and Laurene Powell Jobs, widow of the late Apple founder Steve Jobs. End of article. Well, it just goes to show you the wealthy can do whatever they want with their money and not necessarily make good decisions with it. I thought this was an interesting article, a little odd and unusual, and I just wanted to share it with you. I hope you liked it. If you haven't yet subscribed to Be Wealthy and Smart, hit the subscribe button and you'll be notified as soon as new podcasts are available. And all of my podcasts are on my website at lindapjones.com/podcasts. And while you're there, sign up for my weekly newsletter for tips on financial freedom. That's all for today. Until next time, live the good life and be wealthy and smart.
Thank you for listening to Be Wealthy and Smart with Linda P. Jones. Share the wealth and tell your family and friends about the show. Check out our website, blog, and social media for more riches at www.bewealthyandsmart.com.